Welcome back to another video. Lots and lots to talk about. Clocked Out Sports back at it again. Zisha and Jay Nice. Commanders, Eagles put, I would say, belt to ass. It was multiple scores. Actually, no, it was 11, so it wasn't that bad of a game. But John, Marcus Mariota goes down. He's a baller, best backup in the league, fringe, bridge quarterback. He's great, but I mean, as soon as he went down, I knew we were going to lose. I mean, you saw the throws Josh Johnson was throwing. My God, that pick was awful. He has no zip on the ball at all. So if Mariota can't go for Christmas, it's a wash. I don't even want to watch the Commanders play.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Z. No, it's just once he went down, you had no chance. It's amazing Josh Johnson's been able to stay in the league as long as he has. I think he's been on like 14 teams over like 15 years or something ridiculous. So he's obviously intelligent enough to know the systems and stay around the game and be able to make a roster, but you never want him in 2025 on the field playing for your team, even if it's a lost season, just because, with Mariota in there, they were competitive with the Eagles. The Eagles haven't been as dominant as we've seen them in the past. I mean, it was a close game. That third and goal, or I think from the 15 late in the third quarter, put the Eagles up for good, but the Commanders are right there competitive with Mariota, playing them tough. But yeah, once he went down, there was just no chance with Josh Johnson. Obviously, he had a stint with us here previously. I think it was like 2019 maybe. And back then he had a little bit more promise and hope. But yeah, in 2025, you just don't want to see Josh Johnson on the field for your team.
No, absolutely not. And yeah, you don't want to see Josh Johnson out there. It's actually a testament to how bad Sam Hartman is if Sam Hartman can't beat out a veteran like Josh Johnson, then Sam Hartman is really, really bad. And if DQ preaches competition and you can't beat out a third string journeyman quarterback, Sam Hartman, you're not that guy either, which is fine. It's okay. It's a hard job to do. I would just say, Sam Hartman, you're a good looking guy. Everyone has a man crush on you. Everyone's wives wants to get with him. So, in my opinion, Sam Hartman, this is kind of a fun fact. Go do some modeling, do some acting in the off season. When you have your month-long break, just dabble in that. See if you can make a career on that. I think if you can be a successful actor or a successful model, you can make way more than being an NFL practice squad player anyway. So just want to cover that really quick, but let's talk about the game itself. So first play of the game, John. Mikey Sanders still forced fumble, and then Kay Madrano recovers it, man. I thought we were about to win. If we had scored a touchdown, I thought, oh shit, we could shock the world today. We could win. And then we go down and kick a field goal, and I thought, like, DQ, why are you playing for the points? Just go for it. Who fucking cares? Just play with house money. But shout out Mikey. That's 5 turnovers for the year, John. 5 from Mikey Sanders still. And Kay Madrano, this is what I'm talking about, man. Kay Madrano coming in big clutch, recovering that fumble. So what did you take away from that first play?
Yeah, no, that was, the turnovers are something that we haven't seen the team get a lot of this season. It was, I think Sanders still has, I want to say he has like more than half of the total team's turnovers on the season, maybe, which is pretty impressive. He's gotten picked on a couple of times, and he's gotten beat a couple of times, but that's life in the NFL. He's made his plays when he's had a chance and gotten some big turnovers for us, even in, some games early in the season when the season wasn't completely lost. That Chargers, he had that nice pick in the end zone. But yeah, no, he's got a lot of potential. He definitely plays hard. He's made some good plays. He's gotten beat, but honestly, that's life in the NFL too. So you're gonna have your days where the guy just makes a better play. But no, that was really exciting to start the game, kind of steal that opening possession. I was actually good with DQ getting points there, just because it's like we didn't expect to get the ball like that. You get a turnover on the opening kickoff. You don't want to make that a 7-0 type of scenario there. I'd rather just take the points like he did, get some momentum. You weren't expected to be down there when you're kicking off and have a chance like that off a turnover. So I was fine. They took the points in that scenario just because of that. But yeah, no, it's great to see him still making plays, and the guy, you could tell the sideline was fired up after that. So, as we've said before, DQ gets the guys playing hard. They fight until the very end for him, no matter who's out there and what the team record is. So, definitely some positives to take away individually for some players, and Sanders still is definitely one of them.
I was actually surprised I saw Mikey on special teams. I was thinking he's your best corner. Why is he on kickoff? And then I just see him, strip Will Shipley. I was like, oh, maybe that's why for him to make plays. But anyway, so the game goes on. We're running the ball, and Saquon's running all over us, which is crazy. Like, the Eagles went shotgun, empty set a lot, not a lot of under center stuff, and Hurts was just picking us apart. Wagner and Luvu just getting caught up in coverage. And I love Bobby Wagner, but Bobby Wagner in space is just not a recipe for success. So, and then I remember like their first or second drive, Washington was going base a lot, so going three linebackers with Jordan McGee in there, and yet the Eagles were in 13 personnel, and Hurts was just carving our zone defense apart. So I think whoever the announcer was saying, "Oh, the DQ wants to get Jordan McGee more snaps," which I agree with. However, if they're going 13, we got to go nickel. Like we got to match up speed for speed. So it's unfortunate that we do have a Hall of Famer, Bobby Wagner, who's great at stopping the run. Frankie Louvu needs to rush the. I would have just rushed five. For have Frankie Louvu be the bull rusher up on the center, blitzing from all different spots. Louvu cannot cover in space whatsoever. So that was disappointing to see. And that's the weakness of our team, just linebackers covering in space, though. The defense is just can't stop anyone.
Yeah, no, I think McGee had a nice play where he kind of flashed and tackled someone for a loss. I forget who it was. But you can tell he's got the speed and yeah, just Lulu's just he's too like slow to kind of stay with guys in space. I think his best asset is just rushing the passer and just being, just like you said, blitzing, coming over the center, like mix him up where he rushes from. I think that's where he had success last year. But yeah, no, it's McGee's definitely the best speed linebacker that they have. You can see he flashes. He's flashed in other games too, and he definitely needs more reps. And yeah, Bobby Wagner's Hall of Famer, great leader, great locker room guy to have, but his days of pass coverage are long behind him. So, we need to get those young guys in there to get some reps and see what they can do.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So let's talk about some of the young guys that I was impressed with. Treylon Burks. I was kind of impressed because he had that one-handed catch. He's been a little quiet lately. I liked how Mariota was targeting Treylon Burks. You can also tell Josh Johnson was practicing with Treylon Burks as well because Josh Johnson was just throwing at Treylon Burks the whole time when he was in the game. So it's nice to see that they were targeting him, trying to get him more involved because I love that bomb to Terry. I love that, but we all know who Terry is and what he brings to the table. But we need to see Treylon Burks kind of step up. Can he reach his full potential and be wide receiver 2 for this team? I don't know, but he's definitely a wide receiver 3 or 4 at this point for us next year. But we gotta just keep feeding. I would say just try to force feed him. Fuck it. I don't care if you throw 3 picks against the Cowboys. Let's just see if Treylon Burks is that guy.
Yeah, no, I think obviously, the one-handed catch is going to be the peak of his season and probably the offense in terms of that one play. But he had another nice catch over the middle that was negated by that Coleman holding penalty, which would have
Oh,
been another nice kind of contested catch in space and traffic. So, yeah, no, I think like he's made plays, he's shown flashes. He was a first-round talent for a reason. I'd much rather see him getting reps and getting run than Chris Moore because he's just a journeyman. So, he's not going to be the future of your team, but someone like Burks could be a piece that you keep around and he can step up. I'm not sure he's wide receiver 2 yet. I think he's a good like 4 wide receiver, a good depth piece. If someone goes out, he can step in. But no, he's definitely, to me, he earns a roster spot for next year based on his play this year too.
absolutely. I completely agree. Um, fuck, I was gonna say something. I'm kind of looking at the stats because I it's been 2 days, so my brain is kind of like forgot. Oh, I want to talk about this. Going back to Jordan McGee, why doesn't DQ just do this? Bobby Wagner's on defense on the field for the first 2 plays because it could be runs, right? Because he's great at stopping the run, still at his age. But then sub him off for third down because that's a passing down. Obvious passing down, sub him off, put in Jordan McGee in because you got to see if McGee can cover in space, see if McGee can like communicate and be that inside linebacker for us next year if Wagner is not with us. So I would like to see that moving forward. Maybe I don't know why DQ hasn't done that or thought of that, or maybe he's just like maybe Jordan McGee just doesn't communicate as well. Probably doesn't. Maybe he really doesn't know assignments or doesn't cover space as well. But I just want to see something. Maybe just sub him in for a play or two here or there because Bobby Wagner taking 100% of snaps is not going to help us moving forward.
Yeah, no, I don't know if Wagner being the signal caller with the green dot has anything to do with it. If you can, the coup, McGee, how that works in terms of the logistics behind that. But yeah, I mean, you definitely need to get McGee some more reps. You can see he's got the speed. We got fooled with Jamin Davis. He was another guy that had the speed, but couldn't cover for anything. And he's no longer on the team. We don't need to talk about that right now. But no, I think McGee's got the speed. We need to see if he can cover and kind of be that every down linebacker that we need moving forward.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And you doom and gloomers that's saying, "Oh, why is Bobby Wagner on the team? We don't want Bobby Wagner." Listen, Bobby Wagner can still stop the run. He's extremely valuable. That's Jaden Daniels' best friend besides Sam Hartman. You need his leadership. If Bobby Wagner wants to come back, I'm going to bring it back. But let's talk about the offseason in a second. But let's talk about who else you want to talk about, John?
Let's talk about the running backs.
Running. Okay.
Krosky Merritt, 8 for 25 and a touchdown. Rodriguez, 15 for 63 and a touchdown. You know, Krosky Merritt shows those flashes where you can tell he's the most pure kind of a running back vision, I would kind of say, like in terms of those cuts. And I still think sometimes he misses the hole. There were a couple of runs. I was like, I think the gap was another spot. I think he felt like he missed the gap. But just the flashes, you can tell he's got the jump cuts, and he looks the most like a running back in terms of that elusiveness. And then obviously Rodriguez can just be a pounded down your throat. He always seems like the run should get, it looks like he's going to get stopped for 1 or 2 yards, and he falls forward for like 4 or 5. It always seems like he gets a couple more yards than just to the eye, what you're thinking he's going to get. But no, he can be like a bruiser and a pound it, right down your throats. And, Krosky Merritt's got that elusive kind of shiftiness, can make those jump cuts. So, I mean, I think their running back room is solid. I know we talked about it before. I don't know if they have like a superstar, like Jahmyr Gibbs type in their room. Not many people do, which is why when you get a guy like that, you got to keep him because it can, be a game changer for your team and your offense. But, I think they have a really solid running back room. McNichols, you get Eckler back healthy next year. It's like I feel like you need to go elsewhere to kind of upgrade that room because, I mean, with Rodriguez, Krosky Merritt, McNichols, and you get Eckler back, I'm fine to run that 4 back again or 3. I'm not sure how the contracts look for all those guys. Obviously, Krosky Merritt, we have him since he was a rookie. But like I said, I think it's a solid room in terms of what the offense and what they're asked to do. But yeah, I thought once again they both showed, Rodriguez, I keep him around. He's kind of got a cool story, and Krosky Merritt, obviously, he's got an interesting story as well, background. But I think both those guys, I'd keep them around next year and keep them on the team.
Absolutely. And you might have to, if we bring back Eckler, depends on how healthy he is, because he's really dynamic. We could bring him back cheap. I think his contract runs out because he's getting paid $5 million a year or something. So we could bring him back cheap. Maybe draft another running back, and then maybe we're gonna have to cut McNichols because I would say he'd be the odd man out just because of his fumbling issues. Even though he is explosive and dynamic in spurts, his fumbling issues for me it's like you make this great play, 3rd and 15, you get the first down. That's amazing. And then he fumbled against the Eagles in the NFC Championship game, and then he fumbled again in a crucial situation. It was last week. Who the Giants. He fumbled against the Giants. And I was like, you make these great plays, and then you have these boneheaded plays. So I'm cool with running it back. If AP wants to draft another running back, thinks he can get someone better, do that, because we're basically running back by committee. We're not going to draft Jeremiah Love. Basically, there's no way. If we do that, then that's not a recipe for success. Look at Eshon Genty. Genty's not even having success with the Raiders, and they suck. So don't give me a home run hitter yet. Need to fill out some holes. All right. Do you want to talk about the offseason? Because I'm kind of done talking about the game. The game is like, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. Running back committee, we kind of just talked about that. Quarterback, we're set. Doom and gloomers, we're not trading JD. Do not even put that in the air. Just get that out of your mind, okay? JD is the star, the future, the franchise. Receivers, running back with Terry, Treylon Burks, Luke McCaffrey, and Jalen Lane. So there's 2 slots, okay? We could re-sign Debo and then draft a guy. We can let Debo walk and draft and sign Alec Pierce. That's the only name that comes to mind off the top of my head, and then draft another dude. I know we kind of talked about this, but would you let Debo walk, or would you try to get a guy like Alec Pierce and pay a little more?
It's a really good question. I think I'd really like to see a healthy Jaden and a healthy Debo and kind of who they thought going into this season in the wide receiver room. I think Noah Brown, I don't think he's coming back. I think you replace Noah Brown with a guy like Treylon Burks, bring back obviously Terry's coming back. I would re-sign Debo and run it back with Terry, Debo, Treylon Burks, McCaffrey, Jalen Lane, and then you got one more wide receiver spot open with six for me. You know, if you can bring in a guy like, I think you need a number two. I think you have a lot of good like 3 through 5 receivers. I think if you bring in, it all comes down to the money, like we talked about. So, I think you get a guy like, I feel like they're going to try to go Ayuk just based on if you keep in Debo, you got the, familiarity with San Fran and all the past San Francisco players AP's been bringing in, plus the familiarity with Jaden. I think Ayuk would be an option, or Alec Pierce. Those are kind of my top two free agent receivers. I'd like to see them try to bring in one of those two guys. I would pay Pierce a little bit more just based on, contested catches and what he's done this season with the Colts. Ayuk scares me a little bit with those injuries. Um, but, if you can bring him in, the money's right. I think him with Jaden would keep him kind of, I know the locker room cancer is the kind of the term that we've heard about him, could be kind of a selfish me guy, but I think if you in the right situation, I think, he had talent before the injuries. It's all those what ifs, right? If he can get healthy again, what's he going to look like after these injuries? Playing with Jaden, does that help him, keep him locked in? But no, I mean, I'd like to see them pretty much bring back the same receiving core, but Noah Brown, and try to get one of those two free agents.
And yeah. I agree with you. I don't know if we're gonna draft someone like Jordan Tyson, Cornell Tate. They're studs, but do we want to wait on Ryan Williams from Alabama? Do we want to wait on Jeremiah Smith from Ohio State? I mean, the next year probably not going to get them, but still, like there's some stud. There are always studs everywhere in receiver. So unless we trade back and we're drafting like mid first round, I wouldn't want us to draft a receiver unless no one else is available, right? And I agree. Healthy Debo, healthy Terry, not a healthy Jaden, healthy Terry. Terry in training camp throughout the whole time, we'll be straight, right? The only concern with Alec Pierce is the money. That's the only issue. We have so many holes everywhere. We just paid Terry. We got the trenches. We got to upgrade the trenches, especially on the defensive line. Like, it's just a lot of money to invest right now, and Jaden can dish it to these guys and let them make plays. And that's how Cliff's offense operates, the yak, the short passes, all that. Although I know we need another weapon, but for now, I'm okay with running it. Not ideal, but I also don't want to. I don't want to sign both Debo and Alec Pierce. That's too much money. You can draft another guy for a receiver. Tight ends. Are you okay with Sinnott, Bates, and Yankoff as those three moving forward?
Yeah, ideally, no. But it comes down to, who's out there to get. I think if you're gonna bring in somebody for that room, I think it has to be a dynamic pass catching playmaker. Obviously, those days were behind Ertz even going into the season. The injury doesn't help that. He was still a solid contributor, could still kind of get open and, make those contested catches when someone was tight on him. But yeah, no, I think, Kyle Pitts scares me. He's got the body, but we've never seen him kind of put it together consistently. But ideally, I'd like to bring in, a tight end one. I think Sinnott, we haven't seen enough to really know if he's going to be a solid, tight end one. And they're really good. They're all three, I think, really good run blocking tight ends. But I think what we lack is like a dynamic playmaking, catch in space, type of tight end. So I think if you're gonna look at bringing in someone to that room, I think it's got to be an upper end like tight end one.
So like Isaiah Likely, the Ravens just signed Mark Andrews. Isaiah Likely is definitely not going to re-sign with the Ravens. He's wanting to get paid. Do we throw the bag at Isaiah Likely?
I don't know if I throw the bag at him. I think he's good. I don't know if he's definitely the type of tight end that we're lacking in the room. So it's just a matter of kind of, you have so many holes. You don't want to overpay at one spot just because you'd like to spread that wealth and bring in a lot of key contributors. And when we've seen a healthy Jaden, we've seen that he can take a guy like Dimey Brown, Zacchaeus, and kind of elevate them up. So you can bring somebody in at a lesser price that's kind of just like a solid player. I think with having an elite quarterback, you can kind of elevate those guys without having to overpay, if that makes sense.
Yeah. O-line, I mean, you want to bring Chris Paul back. I believe he earned a starting spot. He took it from Brandon Coleman. And I think a 2-year, like $8 million deal is pretty cheap and definitely worth it for Chris Paul. And doom and gloomers, you saying we should have traded for Tunzel. Look what happened. We threw a dot to Burks, and Coleman was called for holding. Tunzel in the game, he's not getting called for holding at this point. Plus, he's an elite stud, so we gotta lock up Tunzel as well. Definitely for an extension, because I do not want him walking at all. I can't believe the Texans. We fleeced the Texans. I can't believe it.
Yeah, no, he's probably been the best lineman all season, to be honest. In terms of just consistency. I mean, maybe Biotis just because he's been probably the most healthy out of all five, or Connerly. But yeah, I mean, in terms of just play on the field, Tunsil's by far, the best lineman that we've had.
Do you think
he got dinged up last game, but yeah, you gotta lock him up for sure. If you have a stud tackle, you gotta keep him.
so? Wiley is gonna walk. Do you think another team's gonna pay for him? He's average to a below average right tackle. He can play both guard spots, but do you think a team's going to pay for him? I would love to have him back as a swing tackle, obviously for cheap because we got to pay other guys.
Hmm.
I'm just not sure. I mean, someone might overpay for him, but I just hope no one does, and we can. And he loves the culture. He loves his family being there. Maybe he loves the coach. I mean, Allegretti and Wiley both said they love being in Washington more than Kansas City in terms of play style and the way they played. Right?
Hmm.
That was pretty telling. I was like, damn, y'all won Super Bowls and you like being in Washington more than Kansas City? That's kind of crazy to say.
Yeah.
So I kind of hope they take a discount, and maybe we got to cut Allegretti too, just to reduce the cap or ask him to take a pay cut, because it's just, I'd love to have them as depth pieces, but not as starting players.
Yeah. I think if they'll take the vet minimum, sure, bring him back, keep him in the brotherhood, whatever else they like being here. That's great. I like Coleman kind of being that sixth lineman in terms of, he can play guard, he can play tackle, just in case he can step in mid game like that, like what happened when Tunsil goes down. But yeah, I mean, if you can bring back, the five you have, I'd re-sign Chris Paul as well. I think he's earned the spot. If you can keep Coleman, Allegretti, and Wiley as kind of your 6, 7, and 8 linemen, I think the room is, I think you're pretty much set there. If the price is right, you can keep them on the lower end of a vet minimum deal.
Absolutely. Just hope no one overpays for Wiley. Please, God, no. Don't do it. We want him back as a depth piece. All right. I think Bobby Wagner's a free agent. Do you see Bobby Wagner retiring? Do you see him signing with another team to ring chase? Do you see him just settling down in Washington as his career ends? We don't know. We don't know what his thoughts are, but what do you think Bobby Wagner is going to do? What do you think we're going to do with Bobby Wagner?
I feel like Von Miller and Bobby Wagner are going to want at least one more year to kind of run it back with a healthy Jaden, especially Von Miller, because that's why he kind of came here and never really got that chance this year. So I could see Wagner coming back on another kind of 1 year, whatever the money is, type of toward the league, minimum, lower end deal, just because obviously tight with Jaden, they have a really good relationship. And I feel like he's not going to want to go out without playing, not alongside Jaden, but with a healthy Jaden in terms of what this team's full potential could be. So I do think Wagner's going to come back on another 1 year deal. I just think you got to, as we've talked about, find ways to get those younger linebackers in there so that Wagner doesn't have to play 100% of the snaps with his age and obviously lack of speed. Now, don't get me wrong, he's still a very solid linebacker, even at his age and given those, inefficiencies now. But you're definitely going to need those younger guys for the pass coverage. Teams just exploit him in space. The better offenses, better coordinators. But I do think he's going to come back on another 1 year deal.
I expect that as well, and I do want him back. But on passing downs, please, DQ, just sub him off. You can have Jordan McGee on the sideline, you can whisper the play to him, and then he can go run onto the field, sub him out, and then call the play in the huddle. You can do something like that, DQ. Be creative, bro. I mean, I get it. It's not like offense where the quarterback needs to know the play. What is it? Cover 3, cover 2, cover 4, maybe some tweaks here and there. You stunt, you blitz, or just tell him that. Don't even call in the headset. Hey, Jordan, we're running cover 2. You blitz though, or some shit like that. Then you go. I don't know how they call it on defense, but then just run out and sub him out. Please, I do not want to see Bobby Wagner in space. Please. And Von Miller, I saw this because I'm asking about you because I saw this video and he's like, cut Eckler, cut Wagner, cut Debo, cut Von Miller. I was like, they're serviceable. They shouldn't be starting, but they can play a role on our team. Maybe not the
Yeah,
best, but Von Miller in passing situations, give me that. Give me 8 sacks. What he has over the year. I can't believe he has 8 sacks. I'm surprised, right?
yeah. It's a quiet 7 or 8, whatever many he has. But you can still tell he's got that spin move. He can still wreak havoc in the backfield. He's a leader, kind of one of those locker room guys. I think he said on one of his podcasts or something that he wanted to stay here and come back next year. So, I mean, obviously, for sure welcome him back.
Yeah, me too. I welcome him back. I welcome everyone back at the right price and
Hmm.
playable, but playing a smaller role for everyone, all these veterans. Linebacker is going to be tricky. Could we look at Nakobe Dean? There's Devin Lloyd is going to be a free agent. Like, would you be willing to spend big money on those guys to kind of come in and be that presence?
I think so. I think I don't see Wagner taking more than like a 1 year deal. So I don't know. We haven't seen Kane Madrano enough at linebacker to know. McGee's flashed. Um, Ballore, I'm looking at the linebackers now on the roster. Obviously, Ballore is a special teamer. Ale Cajo, rookie. We don't really, the jury's still out on a lot of those young linebackers that they have in the room. But if you can go out and get a proven, veteran, bring back Wagner on a minimum, pay a little bit more for another linebacker that could hopefully kind of be the future because you don't see Wagner be more than like 1 more year. And then have that guy kind of be able to mentor, the McGee's and the younger linebackers when Wagner's gone. I think, if you can get the right personality fit, the right play fit, I think I'm willing to, go out and pay for a linebacker because, you got to bring in a proven commodity. We don't really know McGee's flash. Those other guys are still young. We haven't seen it consistently. So if you got a vet out there that's, proven that their starting linebacker can cover in space, make up for that lack of speed Wagner doesn't have anymore, I think you got to add that because you can kind of mix Wagner with this other guy, and then Wagner's not 100% of the snaps.
Yeah, yeah. And Frankie might just have to be a pure blitzer, or something like that. But we'll see. We'll see. Um, yeah, I wouldn't mind spending money for a linebacker because we have the money. We got to spend it somewhere on someone, and that's someone, John J Nice, I've been talking about for a very long time. Jalen Phillips, 4 year. The guy said in the video, 4 years, 96 mil. I think that's a bit of an overpay given his injury history, but if he's still an elite talent, he's still very productive, and he's looking to get the bag. And if we got to get him away from Philly, if that's what it's gonna do, what it takes to do, got to do it. And plus, I was arguing with Jay the other day. I was saying like, bro, the Eagles can't afford him. He's like, oh, but Howie's a deal maker. Howie's gonna find a way. I was like, listen, he could offer Jalen Phillips 2 years for like 70 mil. Why would you take that when you can get 96 mil? Is all I'm saying. He's gonna go for he's gonna chase the bag first, then the ring.
Hmm.
So I think we have to overpay him. But I think he's the best edge rusher in free agency. And we have the money. As soon as that deal runs out, boom, Jaden's rookie contract ends. So that's off the books. Or like we can cut him in the final year, whatever. All I'm
Hmm.
saying is we gotta get this guy. We have to. We can have Dietrich Wise, Dorrance Armstrong, kind of start on the first, maybe second down. Then Jalen Phillips comes in with Von Miller, uh, Dorrance, and like Frankie rushing the passer. I love that, man. I truly do.
Yeah, no, I think they definitely need to get a playmaking edge like that. I think Phillips, I think he would be great, but and he'd also weaken a division rival if you were to get him, away from Philly, sign with us in the offseason. So, yeah, I know you've been preaching it. I hope you're manifesting it and it comes true.
At the right price. Okay. So, defensive line. Oh, yeah, we bring back Dietrich Wise because he's great at stopping the run on first down. Then you sell him off. I would trade Payne, and the guy said trade Payne for a fifth. I was hoping for a third, but I don't think anyone's trading a third for Payne. So a fifth sounds reasonable and sounds fair. Do you think we can get a fifth for Payne, and would you do it?
I think you can, and I think if you're not going to be able to pay him to re-sign him, then I think you got to get what you can for him if he's not in the long-term plan. So I would have to agree. If you can get something for him, instead of just letting him walk for nothing, then I think you gotta take it.
Absolutely, I agree. A fifth is fair. You play Johnny Newton and Javon Kinlaw, right? And also you have Eddie Goldman there to like kind of stop the run because DQ likes we say running back by committee. He likes D lineman by committee. He really does because we don't have a Micah in there to like wreak havoc. So Jalen Phillips could be our could be that. Okay, corners and safeties. So my opinion, Mikey Trey Amos on the outside. You can find a nickel. I'm not worried about nickel, but free safety, Quan Martin is not him, bro. We have to find someone else. I'm tired of seeing Quan Martin coming in a million miles an hour and then missing his tackles. He's hitting our own guys. I'm tired of it. Bring back Will Harris. Are there any safeties that you have an eye on?
To be honest, no. I think in the little bit we've seen him, Hamilton can be a depth corner. Um, I think Noah I has played more with the injuries, and I think he's actually pretty solid. I know he got called for the interference in the end zone. It was
That was a
we don't need to get into
bullshit.
the
That was a
yeah.
bullshit call, John. I was like, bro, how do you call that and not call the other shit, bro? I think DeJean was holding Burks, and it's
Hmm.
like, okay, maybe red zone's like whatever, like you're more physical, fine. But you call that bullshit? Ridiculous.
Yeah. No, I mean it's the inconsistencies within the game, right? Like if this game is going to be called tight, it's got to be both ways. If they're going to let them play and get away with that, you got to just call it fair for both sides the whole game. And yeah, it just you could and anyone could see that those two calls were not equal. But I think Noah I has played solidly when given the chances and stepping up. Yeah, Quan Martin just I know he had the interception, got called back, I think on a penalty or fourth and goal or something happened. He had an interception that didn't end up counting. It was on a fourth down, but he's missed too many tackles. And Tyler Owens, it's like he's only his second year. Reeves is really solid, hard hitter. Really good special teamer too. So um, yeah, I don't really have my eye on too many safeties. I do think Will Harris, when he's been in there now, is definitely at least it looks better than when Quan was back there with like Percy Butler. So um,
Yeah,
yeah, I mean,
Percy
no,
Butler, special teamer. So we have the seventh or eighth pick. At that spot, are you okay with taking Caleb Downs at that spot?
I think so. I don't know if you have a young. I mean, Will Harris is 30. Quan's all the other safeties are kind of younger. Reeves is 29 and Will Harris is 30. So I think you need to bring in a younger safety to kind of hold it down back there. Um, Kyle Hamilton for Baltimore. I know there was talks. When that draft came up that could have taken him, or I think Derwin James. Or there's some other like secondary pieces that people wanted us to draft, but I think you have so many holes. At, 7 or 8 best talent. I think safety's a position where you got to bring in somebody younger to kind of be that future. Hopefully, he can develop into you get him for 5 years on the rookie deal, and then hopefully re-sign him and keep him.
Yeah, I wouldn't be mad if Arvell Reese is gone, Bain is gone, and we sign Jalen Phillips, and then it's like because it's gonna go Mendoza, right? Mendoza, maybe Dante Moore if he comes out. That's two quarterbacks off the board right away. You go Arvell Reese, you go lineman, whoever that is. You go lineman again, then you go receiver, and then you go another edge rusher. Then it's us, and it's like I'm just kind of speculating and speculating at this point because I don't think Caleb Downs. He's probably BPA best player in the draft right now, but I don't know if someone's going to take him in the top five because there's so many other holes. You got to build the trenches when you're drafting top five. So if he's there at 7 or 8, I think the play is not to trade back. You take him. He can shore up the secondary, be the last line of defense. He can be yeah. He's just probably a great communicator, great safety. We just need more dynamic plays, more blue chip talent, more guys to make plays. Like you see Hufanga making plays flying around. I was thinking, man, why didn't AP go for him? But maybe we did, but just didn't offer him enough. Like I don't know.
Yeah, no, all good points. I agree with everything you said about the draft too.
If he's not, would you trade down? Because the guy said in this video, he's like, "Oh, the Commanders should trade from like 8 to 27th. Whoever's drafting 27th, I think it was like, I forgot who, and pick up a second this year and then a second next year." I was like, 8 to 27 is huge. I was expecting way more picks for that. That's crazy. You only get a first and then 2 seconds, and then we end up drafting like a receiver and then another lineman or something, whatever. I'm like, no, absolutely not. If you're trading, I'm only trading to 10 and then picking up another second or something along the way.
Hmm. Yeah,
No,
no, yeah, that's
I didn't like his analysis that much. I think he might be casual for the Commanders. He might just be a general football fan. But we know in depth what we see and what we have. Like we said, free agency is not. How many Saquons are let go from their team to just walk and sign with anyone? Rarely.
yeah,
Rarely, bro. It's because Joe Shane's the worst GM in the NFL right now.
literally.
All I'm saying is we got to overpay for some guys. Jalen Phillips. Uh, would you sign Trey Hendrickson? Because he's looking for the bag.
I wouldn't, to be honest. I mean, I'd rather go Jalen Phillips than someone like that.
Yeah.
You know, you get all those the other linemen back healthy too, and you get Vaughn back. I think, you know, I wouldn't. I don't know. I don't think I'd throw the bag at him.
Yeah, that's fair. If it was a 2-year deal, absolutely. But there's no shot he's not looking for the bag. He literally told Cincinnati, I'm walking. I'm gonna find the bag. Someone's gonna throw him the bag. Maybe it's the Eagles. That'd be fucking scary. For a 2-year deal, for a ring too, I think he would take it.
Yeah,
That would suck. Okay. For all you doom and gloomer Washington fans, we are coming back with a vengeance. I promise you that. Manifesting that. JD5 is going to be healthy. Healthy receivers. Just want to point out, Jaden Daniels is more of a rhythm quarterback. When he practices fully and fully healthy, man, this guy is unstoppable. He only wins and puts up mean numbers. The only time he had a losing streak was when he was a rookie. He was kind of struggling figuring out the game. Then he figured out the game after week 2. Then he had the rib injury and wasn't practicing and wasn't 100%. So that's why we went on that 3-game skid. But now, with him healthy, he just needs to slide and know when to just give the ball to the running back on RPOs and option plays. We'll be just fine. He just needs to practice, fully healthy, and we're straight.
100%.
Watch out. We're going to be better than the Cowboys next year. Literally, everyone's talking about it. This was the year the Cowboys could have competed for the division. We have the better quarterback, and they have some drama going on in Dallas, as always. Philly, they're up and down. So this year's the down year, and damn it, should have got them on the down year, but whatever. They're going to probably bounce back next year, most likely, just because they have so much talent. But fuck Philly, fuck Dallas. Anything else?
No, I covered everything. I do think they're going to come back stronger next year for sure.
Absolutely. Okay. Thank you guys for watching so much. Like, comment, subscribe. What we should talk about next down in the comments down below. Commander's Corner. I'm going to start naming this Commander's Corner. How do you like that name, John?
I like that. Z Shaw, J Nice, Commander's Corner.
Sir.
Everything's got a ring to it.
Absolutely. Oh, wait. Don't do this. Gotta do this for DQ. Yes, sir. Okay. In the meantime, deuces, everyone.